Kroger presents Signing Day Spotlight, a video series profiling some of the top players in Georgia's 2021 recruiting class. And now, here are your hosts, DawgNation's Jeff Sintel and former UGA All-American Jon Stinchcomb.
Welcome in, DawgNation. We're going to call it a war room, even though we got a Christmas tree behind me. I think we look in John's peripheral vision, and we got trophies. I'm sure he's got some rings, some game balls, all those SEC academic awards he won. So we got some. We're going to talk offensive lineman right now. We're going to get in the war room. Who better to do it than Jon Stinchcomb? And this is our first one, and it's going to be a no-brainer who we start with. 6'8.5", 320 pounds, Amarus Mims out of Bleckley County High School. And I'm just going to say, Jon, I know you've watched this film backwards and forwards. You've watched his junior film. You watched the senior film. Immediately, man, what pops to your mind when you see Amarus Mims on the football field?
Well, he's hard to miss. You don't have to look for a number on the back of a jersey from cheap film to find this guy. I mean, one, he's a mountain of a man, but the way he moves is super impressive. He plays long. He uses that frame. I've seen some big guys on tape, and either A, they're slow-footed, or B, they don't use their size to their advantage. You watch Mims, and he tries to finish every block he's engaged in. He's dominant. He uses that frame to its fullest, and I think he still has room to grow and fill out.
I guess this is a huge question. Jon, left tackle, right tackle, and I think when you answer that question, you got to think year one, enrolling early, Broderick Jones, Warren McClendon. What do you think Amarus is starting out? Remember, big Andrew Thomas started out at right and then became a left. What do you see as maybe the first landing spot if he was in your offensive line room? And then where do you think his future is?
I think it's a natural progression to start for younger players at right tackle. You don't have quite the pressure of the blind side of the quarterback, which, I played mostly right tackle in the NFL, and it depends on which way the quarterback's looking as to which side says blind side. But early on, as he's developing, I see more right tackle, but he's got left tackle written all over him. I mean, his length, the way that he can pass protect. Sometimes he gets a little chesty. I mean, he's just so much larger than most of the defenders he faces in high school that he can just bully folks. And there's some technique stuff that he'll clean up, but you talk about a nice piece of clay to work with. Any offensive line coach across the country would be excited to get this guy in your team room, in your position room, just because of the way he plays. But progression-wise, he'll probably, I would think, start at right tackle and then work his way over to left. It's nice to have a locker room full of guys that includes Jamari Salyer and Broderick Jones and a few others, Warren McClendon, that Owen Condon, guys that you've probably talked about in this same very setting just a few years prior.
Jon, I think he's a plug-and-play lineman wherever. He would have fit in Sam Pittman's system. But you see him on film, and I see him working to the second level a lot, very good in space, especially with that long wingspan. Do you think maybe he's even just as good a fit for what Matt Luke and Todd Monken are trying to do now as what he would have been in Sam's kind of battleship and engage and push type system?
It does. For guys like this, it doesn't matter what system you put them in. I mean, they're just big athletic playmakers. Sam Pittman was looking for the gargantuan lineman, put him in a phone booth and put him in a phone booth and beat him up. Well, he's capable of that, but he's got the length that he can extend. He's got the athleticism to work edges. If you're running inside outside zone where you need some guys to get on their horse, you watch his film, he gets to the second level really easily and is pretty effective when he gets there. I mean, some of those linebackers were so overmatched in that film that he just dominates them. He's able to shove them to the ground and then gore them. And, he's trying to humiliate you and steal your spirit while he's doing it. And I think he's got that ability to fit in whatever system you wanted him to play in.
I think the thing that'll be interesting for him in Georgia is how much better he's going to get. His coaches told me that they really couldn't let him tee off every week on their best guys, or they wouldn't have a defensive line when they're doing board drills or whatever. So he had to always scale it back. He was always kind of mindful of really hurting people, even on Friday nights. And one of the big coaching points for him his senior year was just be violent, just be destructive, And he's able to do that without all the wild pancakes. Everybody thinks those pancakes are great. You got to remember that's a 320-pound guy getting up and down continually on plays. And sometimes these guys would rather just push him out of the viewfinder, push him out of the frame rather than just putting a man on the ground. But guys, I don't know who better we could have had to chop up Amarius Mims in the war room on DawgNation than Jon Stinchcomb. It sounds like he would play for Jon Stinchcomb, and they'd give the young fella a look pretty quickly. Jon, thanks for your time. Thanks for being with us on DawgNation. And guys, that's Amarus Mims, as good as we can tell you about it.
Thanks for joining us. For more info on UGA recruiting, check out DawgNation.com. And a special thanks to our sponsor, Kroger, fresh for everyone.